How's it going, everyone? Data here, and welcome back to episode 18 of our NHL 22 franchise mode series with your Stanley Cup champion, Seattle Kraken. In the last one, it won't be easy to summarize an hour and a half roller coaster in just a couple of minutes, but in the last one, we had a thriller, to say the least, as we barely squeaked out in 7 games of round number 1 against the Sharks. Took down the Canucks in 5 in round number 2. Again, barely squeaked out a 7-game victory over the Blackhawks in the Western Conference Finals. And then it was smooth sailing as we swept the Toronto Maple Leafs in the Stanley Cup Finals for the 2025 Stanley Cup Championship in our 4th year of existence here as the NHL's 32nd franchise. The Conn Smythe went to our captain, Vladimir Tarasenko, with 14 goals, 18 assists, and 32 points in 23 games. He did not do it alone, though. Nathan MacKinnon had 29 points. Jaden Schwartz and Vinny Trocheck were both point per game. The bottom 6 came through in a huge way. 13 points for Mason Shaw, getting like 10 minutes a night. And don't forget Ryan Suzuki, 9 points for less than 10 minutes a night. We had our trade deadline acquisition. Adam Lowry came through with a great plus-minus. Chandler Stevenson did great. But I think, personally, myself, and a lot of you were saying that the true Conn Smythe champion, the reason why we were able to capture that Stanley Cup, was the big bellow himself, Mr. Ben Bishop, who in the postseason, after taking over, in game 4 or 5 of the first round, something like that, it was early on, after he took over for Peyton Wilm, went on a tear. 14-4-2 was his record. 3 shutouts, a .931 save percentage, and 2.09 goals against average to capture his first Stanley Cup here at the age of 38. He was a man possessed, and we were tremendously blessed to have him on the team. Now, coming off of that Stanley Cup high, we're entering the 2025 draft and offseason with a lot of questions, as on the one hand, we have the salary cap and we have the players signed on to, in theory, run it back. But we have a lot of players in the system who are going to be coming up to the NHL who want some ice time. Dawson Mercer, Jameson Reese, Isaac Roseyan, and Asher Maloney, just to name a few. Vitaly Popov as well. There are a lot of players going to be pushing for that bottom 6, and not all of them will have that time. And them coming up to the bottom 6 means that there's going to be someone or multiple players who are going to be kicked out. Chandler Stevenson on an expiring deal. Do we let him go? Mason Shaw and Ryan Suzuki, they'll want to be moved from the 3rd to the 4th line. Don't forget Adam Lowry, who was our 3rd-line center, but now maybe there's no room for him anymore. Yes, we can let Tanev walk, but Gambrell, he's been amazing as well. He's been an original Seattle Kraken. And while he hasn't done anything wild, for the 4th line, I would say they're crazy numbers. 15 goals, 14 goals, 25, 30-point seasons, and he's only logging 8, 7, not even close to double-digit minutes per night. 820 per night last season. He scored 30 points. We can't take him out. So the way I see it, Gambrell, Cole Lind, Suzuki, and Shaw are already 4 of the 6 names in the bottom 6 that I would say are locks. Stevenson and Lowry, I'd like to bring them back, but with those players pushing, that is the issue. But for this episode, we're not going to worry about that too much, because that will depend on off-season growth. We'll see how they grow, and by the end of this episode, we'll have some questions rolling into the preseason, which will be next episode. So with all that taken care of, let's dive into the comments here. A lot of great comments, people excited with the Stanley Cup. JVR Don, wow, great run. Your excitement is contagious. Tough with all the prospects pushing to make the NHL. It's tough to argue at the same time for any change in the current roster, given that we won. Ideally would keep it the same and keep Bishop for another year. He's also on an expiring contract, but we have Philip Gustafson signed for $900K as an 83 overall, so that's the issue. I think Bishop coming back is going to be a common theme here in the comments, so thank you, Mr. JVR Don. Speaking of Ben Bishop, Landon, what an amazing finish, especially for Big Ben Bishop. Go Kraken. Only in this franchise, though, of course. Thank you, Landon. Scott with a great comment, as we saw 280 overalls on Toronto. Ian Scott and Keith Kincaid as their goaltending in the Stanley Cup Final. Insert the "whose line is it anyway" meme, which he ended up inserting on the Discord server right here. Welcome to EA Sports Goaltending Simulation, where everything is made up and the overalls don't matter. Couldn't have said that better myself. Braden says, congrats on the sick win and Tarasenko's second Stanley Cup. I think I'd mentioned that I thought it was his first, but of course, Stanley Cup champion in 2019 with the Blues. He took that experience and led the team well. Jeremy said that he stayed up way too late watching that one. What a ride. Can't wait to see what the future holds for the team. I feel you there, Jeremy. A lot of late nights with this team. Vinny says, there's a lot of really interesting pieces going into the draft. Definitely worth it to take a look and see what is necessary to trade for those players. We'll get into that a little bit when we go to the draft. Some late first rounders and early second rounders that are interesting. If the price is right, I would go for the medium elite goalie, another prospect that we'll touch upon. There is no shame in having someone else inside the system in case Peyton Wilm doesn't work out in some way. Good work to GM Data, and congratulations to the Seattle Kraken on their first Stanley Cup win. Thank you, Vinny. Epu saying, wow, I was so scared during the Hawks series. You and me both, my friend. Ben Bishop, my Conn Smythe winner. Sign him for next season, and when he retires, we should retire his number. For next season, I would trade the first rounder to fine-tune the team and stay competitive. Also, trade Jake Bean. We can cash in on him unless he drops like a rock. Also, I'd give Vlad more X factors after that run, maybe one for Schwartz too. That'll be another thing that we touch upon at the end of this episode. Moving into next season, we have a maximum of 3 players that we can add or remove X factors from, so we'll keep that in mind. Speaking of Tarasenko and Schwartz, Scott also left a comment saying, as long as we have both of them, I propose nicknaming them the Blues Brothers. I can't believe I didn't come up with that myself. That is genius. I love it. Thank you, Scott. Gonna just stamp a little copyright on it. Back to thoughts about the draft. Ramsey says, if that first pick in the draft for us is going to be one of the NHL-ready defensemen, because there are some in the late 20s, it seems like, I would trade Jake Bean, since that would require a roster spot to open up. Rocky Mountain Russian leaving a couple comments. Finally finished. Great job and awesome run for the boys. Couple things I would do moving forward. Number 1, absolutely trade Jake Bean, maybe during the draft to move as you need. We have young defensemen to move up. The bottom 6 would be hard to keep Stevenson, but I could understand since it's a good contract. Shaw and Suzuki have earned their spots. Move 1 or 2 of the others up from the AHL, or they'll never grow more than they have, just as Suzuki and Shaw proved when we gave them a chance this past season. Goaltending, we have not played Gus the Bus enough to really know how he will do. He has less than 30 games over 3 years, so it's really unfair to judge. I would bring back Bishop as the third and run with Wilm and Gus for at least 40 games, similar to what we did at the start of this past season again. See how things are at that point. I'm okay with that. I think that's a good idea. Draft, go for the NHL-ready top 4 D-men and not the low elite. Low elite will probably be just trade bait for later. And yes, absolutely go for the medium elite goalie, as he will be mid-60s to start and grow fast. Great job, Data. Thank you, my friend. I do like low elites because they have the X factors, but very true that it's a bit more difficult to develop depending on where they're drafted and what their starting overall is. Another comment left from Rocky Mountain Russian is that I made an error on the Matty Beniers contract offer. He wanted 8.875, and I offered him 8.750 because I misread the 8.86 as 8.68 on my calculator. That was my bad, but I guess it wasn't meant to be. Matty Beniers will deserve to get paid a little bit more, so we'll figure out a contract sometime during this episode. Finishing off the YouTube comments here with Michael, who loved the speech from GM Data in Game 7 versus the Hawks. Let's go. This episode had it all. Drama, action, emotional roller coaster, anger, passion, excitement, and now relief. I know you didn't ask. Actually, you know what I did? I mentioned at the end of the last episode. I wanted to know how you spent your day with the Cup. And Michael spent his day with the Cup hanging out with Gary Payton, Clint Dempsey, Wilm on film, and Ben Bishop at Elliott Bay catching trout and bass. What a day. Off-season thoughts now in the follow-up comment. Top 6, no change. Blues Brothers, Mac, Marco, Trocheck, Matty B. Top 4D, no change. Now here we go in the bottom 6 / the third D. Some form of Asher Maloney, Rosean, Popov, Yurchek, and Mercer mixing with some who are currently on the roster. Off-season trades, Tanev, yeah, we're definitely going to let him walk. Jake Bean, I would say no. He's still young, and he filled in well for the playoffs when called upon. So a lot of it, I think, for Jake Bean will come down to, do we feel the need if something comes up trade-wise? If not, we can always do it at the beginning of next season, or even just go into next season with him on the team. It doesn't make a ton of sense to have him making over $4 million as an 83 overall as a 7th D-man. It's just that I'm not totally pressured to make the move happen. here at the draft. Qualify Matty Beniers and wait for his demand to come down? Absolutely. For free agency, let Ben Bishop go and give Gus the Bus another chance as the backup to Wilma on film. Definitely a benefit that Gus has a cheap contract for his overall, but thankfully with so much cap space, I think it will be possible to keep all three. In Michael's opinion, it's more of a defense and goalie draft since there's not too many D in the system after Yurchek and Sloan. No goalie besides that medium elite 59 overall, so good to try and stock the shelves in that regard. Some ideas there of some names that we can draft, which I will put on the watch list, and let's get Kraken lacking. Thanks a lot, Michael. Moving over to the Discord server now. Addy says, one suggestion for the draft, go for Stan Curry. I know it's not Curry the way it's spelled in the NBA, but we Stan Curry in this server. But, you know, a lot of Steph Curry fans on the Discord server, I will say that. What an amazing name. Curry, he looks like he's a top 6 forward going 35 or 36, so we'll keep him in mind when we make our first round selection. Zach left some good music there. POV, or Seattle Kraken, our Stanley Cup champions. I'm Sean Avery. Classic data. Switch to the second goalie for the playoffs. Building on something that Pat said a little bit of a while back. Data and switching his starting goalie in the first round. Name a more iconic duo. Hey, got our names on the cup. Also a shout out by Addy to Jukesy, who left a comment regarding Adam Lowry back in November of last year. Adam Lowry ended up being a huge piece for our third line, so a little bit of credit definitely going out to Jukesy, baby. And finishing it off with Assistant GM extraordinaire Hobbsy, the Kraken have gotten over the hump and won the Stanley Cup. The play-by-play on the Tarasenko tying goal with a second left, and then the winner in OT was absolutely legendary. As for next season, I think we try to run it back as close as we can. Obviously, there will be some changes due to player growth and players wanting too much money, but if the UFAs want reasonable money and there's a spot for them, I say we bring them back. Of course, it's all fluid and can change based on growth, contracts, UFAs from the other teams, but I don't think we need to make too much of a drastic change to the lineup for next year. Thank you, Hobbsy. So with all that taken into consideration, I hope everyone had a fantastic little bit of downtime in the month of June to spend some time with the Stanley Cup. We still have July and August, but we got to get back to work a little bit here for the months of June and a little bit of July as we head into this off season. We're going to take care of the draft first and foremost, but we got to keep in mind the extensions that our players want. Matty Beniers right now, he wants 6 years at $12.5 million. We wanted to give him 8 at like 8 point whatever, which would have been great, but now he's 90 overall, 22 years of age. He's just going to get better. 6 years would bring him to the age of 28, and 85% of that is 10.625. Not a bad contract at all, making, you know, $63.75 million for the next 6 years. Not bad at all. So the issue is not the money. My issue with it is that I want to get him locked up for 8 years. Right now, his 8-year price tag at 85% is just over $11.5 million. So I'm not going to hold out a long time. I'm not looking to get him to come down. I'm not, you know, these aren't crazy numbers, but I will qualify and revisit in the first, second, third week of July because I want to get him signed on for 8 years. Worst case, we go 6. Hopefully, this doesn't bite us down the road here, but we'll try for the 8 years, and worst case, we'll just have to do less than that. Chandler Stevenson now. What I'm going to do with Chandler Stevenson is I'm going to send him a contract extension. 3 years is cheaper than 2. I'm going to just give him a 1-year offer. The thing is, I don't know if Chandler Stevenson has a spot on this team next season. I don't know according to growth. But if there is a spot on that third liner in the bottom 6, I want it to go to Chandler Stevenson. So I'm going to get him signed on. Worst case, we trade him, but I want to have him ready to go. I don't want to lose him and we end up trading for someone else who isn't as good. So 85% of what he's asking for right here is 2.65. So I'm going to go ahead and offer him what he should be offered after a great season. I'm going to give him a little bit of a bonus. 1 year at 2.750, and we'll see what he says to that. Maybe he doesn't even play next season, but at least we have him signed on. Cole Lind, I also want to extend him his extension right now. I think I'll give him a couple years. He has been, he's an original Kraken. He's been great on that fourth / a little bit of third line time. He scored 55 points in 171 career games, just -7 with Vancouver. So 55 points in 164 games, I suppose, in his Kraken career. He's been great in the AHL. I'd like to keep him on. So I'm going to offer him a 2-year deal as opposed to just 1, now that he would be UFA status regardless. So 2 years, asking for 1.775, 85%, just over 1.5. So I'm going to try offering him 2 years at 1.625. Again, a little bit of a bonus for how good he's been, and we'll see what he says to that. all I'm going to think about for extensions right now. Now we're going to head into the draft, where we already have some players watch listed, and we'll figure out if we're going to make any trades along the way to try and get some other picks. But let's get this started and see, are any teams willing to move their top picks? Always curious to see this in the top few. No, 1, 2, 3, 4 all locked out. The 5th overall pick from New Jersey is potentially up for grabs, though. So let's try simulating a few picks and just see what happens, since we're obviously not going to be moving for these. Palin goes to the Montreal Canadiens, 83 overall, medium elite power forward. The Predators get Nattinen, 81 overall, medium elite centerman. The Flames get Kokkonen, a medium elite 81 overall two-way forward. And the Ducks get another medium elite two-way forward at 81 overall. So at 5th overall, if we really wanted to trade up, who would be the player who's available? It would be a medium elite two-way forward, again, right winger, Bobby Winther, who is NHL ready, similar to Joe Thorne. I'm sure he's probably the same thing, 81 overall, all that stuff. But the last thing we need is another forward who's going to be trying to get middle 6 minutes. So we'll see what he was, just out of curiosity. Yeah, exact same thing, 81 overall. So our selection is coming at pick number 32. But we know that we do want to think about maybe trading up just maybe 27 or 28, because there is an NHL ready defenseman, which means probably about 74 to 77 overall at Koslov here. Yeah, Alexander Koslov. I don't know why the menus are such an issue. There we go, Alexander Koslov. He is ranked 27th and NHL ready, medium top 4D. We could also go ahead and select Laurent Coty, which would be fun. Low elite, fun name. He definitely has X factors and superstar abilities as a low elite prospect, as they all do. But the thing is, he's 3 years away, which is not a big deal. But there's also other low elites later on in the draft that we can target. Let's use this first round pick for a medium top 4 NHL ready defenseman, 6'5", defensive defenseman, great player looks like. And then we can take a low elite later on. Always a bit more of a risk of whether or not they develop. I'm sure Coty would be great, but if I had to choose between Koslov and Coty, especially with other low elites coming later on, I think I'm going to choose Koslov. So that means we want to trade up to maybe 27, 28, something around there. So we'll see which picks are up for grabs later in the draft here. Not a lot, eh? 28 is up for grabs, but that's not ideal. So let's try trading with the... I don't want to risk it too late, so I guess Dallas. I'm going to try Dallas. They don't want to trade their pick, but I'm offering them 32 the other way. 32 for 26, and I'll make it worth their while. So maybe that sweetens it enough. We have 3 4th-round picks, so I guess I'll try throwing a couple their way. 128 and 108 still isn't sufficient at all. It's because they don't want to move it, that's why. Even though the value is good, they don't want to move it, so now we have to suffer. Let me try adding pick number 171 from the Jets. Still too far off. And then I can give you a 4th next season here. 3 4th-round picks just to move up 6 spots. Isn't sufficient at all? Goodbye. Hurricanes select a medium... Ooh, how about that? How about that for a drop-off? 67 overall, medium top 4D. I think the guy that we take at 27, 28, whatever, is going to be better than the guy who's going at 5th overall. So we'll try getting 27 from the Flyers. Worst case, we get 28 from the Lightning, and then try to swap 28 to 27 or 26. We'll have to play games like that. At least they want these picks as well. So here are the 2 4ths and 32 to move up to 27. This should make you happy. There you go. Happy to accept the proposal. There we go. I don't know why Dallas has to be such a pain about it. So we'll sim to pick 27 and cross our fingers, I suppose. And thank goodness he's still there. So let's go back to the beginning here. Let's see what happens after the Hurricanes pick. Not a lot of great stuff here. Crombeen, 79 overall. That's cool. Pavelski, 74. 75. Okay, so some 70s popping up after a couple 60s go. Then back to the usual medium top 6, 64, 65 overall range. Medium top. The Stars get a medium top 9 forward. That's what you get. Now we are happy to select with the 27th overall selection, so let's approach the podium. With the 27th overall selection in the 2025 NHL entry draft, the Seattle Kraken are proud to select from Russia, Alexander Koslov. Welcome to Seattle, my friend. He is, 80 overall? The scouts came through! 80 overall, better than the guy who went 5th. One of the best players in this draft, probably. 80 overall at 27 with the X factors to boot. Look at 3.5-star defense already. Not a wonky prospect. Yoink and ice pack. 6'5", 18 years of age. The scouts came through. Let's go. We're going to hold that over Dallas for our entire lives here. What a selection. Alexander Koslov. Can't wait to see you in Seattle, Bello. Get on that plane, fly across, and we'll see you. Wow. What a pick. Whew. Let's finish off the round here. Then Messier is a top 6D out of nowhere. That's why you got to check the NHL readiness. You got to check when the player's NHL ready. Laurent Coutier was 65 overall, low elite, and he has the X Factor, the superstar ability there. Bouncer, 6'1", definitely not the same as Koslov, that's for sure. Very, very happy with that pick. Dallas has another selection. They take another medium top 9 forward, and then the Flyers take one more, and it's a medium. Oh, it's pretty good. The 76 overall medium top 4, D. Gunderson, another player that I was thinking about, but definitely happy with Koslov. So now we're at pick number 33. Super excited about Koslov. Our next pick is at 56. The question now becomes, do we want to trade up to get any picks between 33 and 56? Look at all these guaranteed medium top 6 forwards. The scouting really came through for us this year. Any of these top 6 forwards would be great. I believe all of them are 2 to 3 years away. Stan Curry, though, only 1 year away. As a centerman at 17 years of age, Stan Curry might be the guy, but it would require us to do some trading up. All these players with good NHL ETAs. Man. I know we want to focus on defense and goaltending in this draft, but that's a really good value pick at potentially in a couple selections. So I'm going to let the Canadians take their pick, and I'm going to try trading with Calgary here. The Canadians go ahead and take Sedin, the medium top 9. So let's try and trade for 34. Oh, they no longer want to trade their pick, eh? I guess something changed. Or did they never want to trade it in the first place and I misread? But either way, I'll offer you 56, because I also want to draft that second round pick. So maybe I'll give you 64 and 102. I know that's not going to get it done, but let me just see how close we are. Isn't woefully insufficient. You got to see what the message is. If they say woefully insufficient, you know that you're in trouble. So a second, a third, a fourth, and a seventh? Still too far off. Move up 30 picks and make that a sixth instead? No, that was my final offer. I can't do it. We can't do it. I'm going to have to try to trade with the Ducks. And hopefully Stan Curry's still there, because I don't want to risk going through that pick and then the Ducks don't want to trade their pick anymore. So this will make it a lot easier to go through. Let's try again. 64, whatever, 102 and 171 for pick number 35. Still too far off. Adding a fourth, changing 6 to a 7th. Trade accepted. Thank you very much, Anaheim. So hopefully Stan Curry is still here. Oh, come on. It makes sense, though. It makes sense. The Blue Jackets, they saw the Canadians took Sedin. They wanted Stan Curry. They didn't want to trade their pick anymore. So you know what? Not meant to be, and we'll have lots of joy with this other top 6 prospect we select here. So, it wasn't meant to be. Darius Piper, King Darius, similar to Claude Giroux, NHL ETA of 2 years, not 3. Still pretty solid. The rest are all 3 years. So, okay, you know what? It's not bad. That is not bad. Coming out of the Moose Jaw Warriors of the WHL, A- shooting, A- puck skills, lacks size. Left winger, not horrible. I know there's Peyton Blacker coming later on, the goalie that we wanted to select as well there. So in theory, we could just trade down for the goalie. But the thing is, Peyton Blacker, medium elite at 46, he's 5 years away, which I don't think that, why would I take Peyton Blacker, medium elite, 5 years away at 40 whatever, when I could take a medium elite goalie who's also 5 years away at like 170th overall? That's the thing. What's so special about Peyton Blacker? If he's 5 years away, he'll still be a 50 overall or whatever, like everyone else. That's what's scaring me. There's other goalies who we're thinking about in this draft. Like this guy, Marcus Hilpert, is 3 bars medium elite, and he's also 5 years away, but I can go ahead and take him with my 7th round pick later on. That's the thing, I don't know. We have a medium elite goalie in the system already. This, again, it might come back to bite us, but I don't think I'm going to go for that medium elite goalie, because I'm going to go for that German one later instead. Now the question becomes, do we actually take King Darius, or do we go for a different forward? But the rest are all 3 years away. This is the last player in the draft who's 2 years away, it looks like. We're going to take some D later on. There's low top 4, low elite. Yeah, we're going to take them later on. Yeah, let's do it. Let's do it. We're going for King Darius. Darius Piper out of the Moose Jaw Warriors of the WHL. Welcome to Seattle. He is 70 overall. There we go. Left wing, 70 overall, medium top 6. We will take it. Very nice. Nice average prospect without any crazy wonky stats. We'll take it. Stan Curry, of course. Better, yeah, good shooting. I think that's where he has the edge right there. Stan Curry. We tried. It didn't work out. That's just how it goes sometimes. So simming to pick 56 now. Let's see what the other top 6 forwards were here, who went later on. Lower in overall for sure in the 60s. A lot of 60 overall medium top 6 guys. Yep, all the way down we go. So medium top 9s, medium top 6D. Yeah, all the way. There's Blacker. 49 overall medium elite. That's the thing. He's going to be a long project. Why use a second round pick on a long project when I can use a 6th or a 7th round pick on a long project? That's my thinking. 56th overall now. We can go ahead and take Phil Spalling, 18 years of age, 6'3" defensive defenseman, 3 years away. Or we can take the low elite defensive defenseman. I think it's got to be low elite. Yuri Safronov, 6'4", another defensive defenseman, 4 years away, but has the X factors and the superstar abilities, so that ups the trade value as well. So I think we're going to go ahead and do that. Yuri Safronov with our 56th overall pick. And he is 61 overall. Let's see those X factors. And oh, what? No X factors. That's crazy. Because Braden Kobasu had them in last year's draft. That's a bit of a shock. Well, it's still low elite regardless. But I was hoping for the X factors. But it doesn't make or break the player. Low elite is still fine for a late second round pick. I'm not going to complain about low elite when the guy before was a medium top 6D and the next one after him was low top 4D. Is there a huge difference between low top 4 and low elite? Hard to say at the draft. So I think we're still okay with Safronov, even though he does not have any superstar abilities. Now, checking out the draft class, between now 65 and 90, whatever, when our next pick is, do we want to trade up for any more picks? There is this gem, low top 6, Corbin Pierce, 4 years away, left wing, potential two-way forward. There's low elite Felipe Bolton here, 3-bar low elite. I don't know if he's a grinder, maybe more of a power forward, 3 years away. Very interesting draft here, though. I do have to say, there's the low top 4. Why are so many defensive defensemen in this draft? Low top 4 defensive defensemen there. And then our next pick would probably be nothing crazy. It would be a low top 6 power forward, probably our next selection. Alan Bogosian, 3 years away. Then there's a low top 4, another defensive defenseman, but a gem, and a low top 6 two-way forward, Cody Cecido. So a lot of, I don't know, I don't want to take all these left wingers and stuff. I'd like to focus more on the defense, even though there's a gem low top 6 forward here coming out of the OHL, Windsor Spitfires, 4 years away. I don't want to put too much stock in the gem when I don't necessarily have a pick there, trading up all that value just to get a gem. I'd rather keep what we have now, I think. Low elite Bolton from the States is also tempting, but again, I can't spend all of our 5th, 6th, and 7th to try and move up for that one prospect. I might want to go quantity in this draft since there seems to be some good late pieces. So I think I'm going to risk it here. I'm going to risk going to pick 96. I know there might be some players that go right before then. Yeah, medium top 9s. Who was I thinking about here? None of them really shaped up. There's low top 6 Bogosian, like we said. Low top 4 Baranka as a defenseman. Low top 6 Giordano. Low top 4 D. Where's that centerman? Bolton. He was a low top 6 grinder, 61 overall. So you know what? I'm not mad at any of those. Medium league goalie that went there, but we didn't know enough about him. So yeah, I'm okay with skipping here to 96. At 96, the final selection of this third round. Do we want to reach a little bit? I think so. Unless we trade down. It'd only be for 103, so we could trade down a few picks and try to squeeze something out. Yeah, why not? Let's get a little greedy, you know. Let's try and squeeze it out. Let's go to New Jersey, and I'll try to get New Jersey's pick at 100 for the one at 96, and I get a 7th out of it. 100 and 196. There we go. 100 and 196 in exchange for 96. And with that selection, the Devils go ahead and select Bolland, medium top 6D. So let's sim to our selection now at 100. Those first few picks of this round, medium top 9, medium top 6D, medium top 9. I'm glad that we're dancing around these players we don't want so much. And now we'll go ahead and select Oleg Kozevnikov. We've seen this name in our franchise modes before. If you know, you know. 6'5" defensive defenseman. Again, we're definitely drafting some big boys in this draft. He is a gem, and he is 63 overall, low top 4D. Hopefully the gem means that there's a higher chance of developing. And, you know, pretty normal stats for an 18-year-old fourth-round pick. We'll see what comes from him later on. Next pick at 160 now. There's some other low top 4Ds between 101 and 160, but we definitely want to take one of our biggest targets of this draft, who is Tiny Morrison from the QMJHL, 18 years of age, medium elite potential. Yes, 5 years away, but we'll take that medium elite potential. So let's try and get a trade going for 112 or 113, and we'll make that selection for Tiny Morrison. Wow, my apologies, I missed that. I just traded 168 and 171 in exchange for 112 or 113. I'm shocked that they would do that. So to pick 112, sorry. So we got 112 in exchange for 168 and 171. I didn't think they'd accept that. I just sent the offer without recording just to see what their thought process would be. But hey, thank you, Boston. A couple low top 4Ds going there, like I mentioned. Those were players that I was thinking about targeting, but then totally forgot about Tiny Morrison, who popped up, and we're very gladly going to reach just a little bit for him. Just make sure we get him before anyone tries to reach for him. So from the Royan Norunda Huskies of the QMJHL, Tiny Morrison, welcome to the Kraken, medium elite, 55 overall, two-way D, getting some more trade value in the system. Thank you very much. And again, size, 6'4", this guy, getting the size in the system. So between 113 and 160, I don't think there's anyone we want to reach for. Again, some low top 4Ds. There's definitely some value in there. It's a solid enough draft. Fringe starter, low top 6, 2-bar medium starter, but no one that I'd really want to trade up for, I don't think. So I'm happy to move to our next pick now and see what happens then. Pick number 160, the final pick of the fifth round, excuse me. No one that really jumps out at me, I would say. Going down 2-bar low elite. Bah. When is that goalie slated to go again? If we're sorting by potential here at 226. So I might just trade. I don't think there's anyone else in this draft we really want to go for. Oh, look at this guy, Staples, Italian goaltender, Staples. Wes Staples, playing in Zurich for the Lions. Oh, there's the low elite defenseman. So you know what? I'm going to take the low elite D-man with this pick, the 3-bar low elite, see if he turns into anything. Lucas Yablonski. You blew it, Yablonski. He is low elite, 52 overall. Very nice. Then I'll go to pick number 196, take that goalie, and then I'm not sure if we have any other selections after that, but if we do, I will just go ahead and trade them. But without further ado here, drafting out of Germany from Augsburger Panthers of the Dell, 18-year-old, 6'4", potentially elite goaltender, at least a starter, I would think. Yeah, medium starter, we'll take him. Medium starter, 47 overall for a 7th round pick, no problem with me. Peyton Wilm is in our system. We have another medium league goalie in our system. And more goalies will come our way. I didn't think that it was the right move to get that guy in the 2nd round, who ended up being a 49 overall. I think that was the right move in the end. We have no more picks, so we'll sim the end of this draft, and it was a pretty solid one, I do have to say here. Koslov, again, 80 overall, that's huge. Darius Piper, not who we wanted Stan Curry, but now he's here and he's going to do good things. Safronov, Kozevnikov, Morrison, Yablonski, and Hilpert, all the newest members of the Stanley Cup champion Seattle Kraken. So the rest of this offseason shouldn't be too difficult here, as we already know most of what we'll be looking like for next season. We'll try and send a couple of contracts to our coaches and scouts. Aside from that, let's see who signed on. Chandler Stevenson, easy decision to renew the contract. Lovely. I'm quite happy about the amount of games I suited up for last year. Yeah, he played like 85 games, I think, between us and Washington, something like that. So I'm hoping for more of the same. Great. Cole Lind, easy decision to renew the contract. Fantastic. And that's it right there. So I'll go ahead and renew the contracts of the coaches and the scouts in just a moment. The one other contract that I forgot about, the main one aside from all the other rookies and all that, is Ben Bishop, who is a UFA now. It would be great if we could start next season running what we did this past season. Wilm backed up by Gus, which changed to backed up by Bishop after Gus didn't look too good We gave him the chance. He's making 900K as an 83 overall, so it would be foolish, I think, to just dump him out of nowhere. But he was 3-6-2 with an 883 save percentage, 3.29 goals against average. We'll give him another chance since he's already signed on at such a cheap price. But if we could have Bishop there just as our safety net, that would be amazing. I'm just going to offer him a 1-year contract. I'm not even going to lowball him for 85%. I'm going to give him exactly what he's looking for. That's what he deserves as our hero here in Seattle. Future retired number, of course. 1 year, $2 million. Hopefully he is happy to accept that, and we'd still have like 22 million of cap space to play with. Of course, maybe half of that goes to Matty Beniers, but great to see that we are in a pretty good spot organizationally here. I'm going to run through this and take care of it myself. Brandon Tanev, you know what? League minimum for an 81 overall. I'm down to bring Brandon Tanev back. But I'm going to sign back on Jameson Reese, Ylönen, Popov, probably Ruzicka, Phillips, one of the original Kraken. I'm down to bring him back. Sloan as well. And then for the unsigned prospects, we'll get Koslov a contract, as he's probably going to be cracking the NHL. More reason why we're likely going to be moving on from Jake Bean. Moss, 72 overall, American prospect, or is he... No, he's playing for Mississauga, so we'll probably leave him unsigned for the offseason. I think everyone else will stay unsigned for the moment. We'll deal with that after we see the offseason growth. So I'll take care of sending out these contracts as well as the coaches and scouts. And you know what? Matty Beniers, his contract demands have come down. For 8 years, he wants 12.675 as opposed to the 13.5 he wanted before. We could get him even cheaper for 6 or 7 years, but 8 years would bring him to the age of 30 and would pay him $86 million if we're offering him 85%, which would be about 10.75. I think 10.75 for a rookie coming off his ELC at a 90 overall with much more to prove, I think that is a fair deal. Could it be a bit lower if we keep holding out? Maybe, but we don't need to put a little wedge between us. I think we're happy to just send him the offer, be done with it, put it to bed, and be ready for 8 more years of Matty Beniers. So 8 times 10.750, we'll see what he says to that. Advancing a day forward now to see who's back on. Ben Bishop rejecting contract, wants to test the free agency market. We offered him what he wanted, so we'll just go a little bit more. I don't see that's not his true spirit. That's his agent sending us some junk. Matty Beniers also wants to test free agency, which obviously won't be happening as a restricted free agent. Matthew Phillips, Tanev, Reese, Ylönen, who's now up to a 79 overall with medium top 6 potential. Ruzicka, Sloan, Popov, Koslov, all back on board, or on board for the first time with their entry-level deals. I think I may have made another error in my calculations here. He wants 10.77, and I offered him 10.75. Oh, I think I made another mistake with my arithmetic here, so my apologies. I'm going to offer him 8 years at 10.8, Matty Beniers. If not, then that means he doesn't want 85%, but at least let me offer him 85%. I don't know why I keep messing up these numbers here. And then Ben Bishop as well. He didn't want to take the $2 million, so we'll try to go one, because he wants 2 years. So we'll try 1 year at 2.250. If anyone deserves to get paid, it is Big Ben Bishop. Advance another day now to see if that's good enough for them. Radek Stefan is back as our AHL head coach. Easy decision for Big Ben Bishop, and no once more from Matty Beniers. So I won't go too much higher than this because... Actually, you know what? I won't go higher than this at all. I'm just going to qualify him, and then as soon as the clock strikes 12 on July 1st, he'll be open to signing it because, he would have, quote, tested the free agents market. So that's just about it. Everyone else is re-signed. Nice simple year of contracts here, all expiring, just Matty Beniers, goalies, nobody. Wonderful. This is the kind of offseason that we... And no scouts to re-sign either. This is the offseason that general manager loves, especially with a Stanley Cup ring on his finger. All right, so heading on to July 1st now. Fantastic. Yes, yes, yes. Let's see what's up in the free agent market. I'm curious to see who has slipped through the cracks and made it to free agency. Svitov, wow, Svitov, restricted free agent, but still, he was the first overall pick in 2022. He is a 43 goal scorer, 95 overall, wow. Of course, Matty Beniers there as well. So now, first point of business will be to re-sign him. He wants 10.65 for 8 years. All right. Not going to scam the system too much because that would mean getting him at just above 9 million. But let's try 8 years at 9.5. I think that, that's a little bit of a punishment for what he did, but not scamming the system too hard. That's what he asked for, so that's what we're going to give him. 8 years, 9.5. Let's see if he likes that. $76 million is nothing to sneeze at as a 22-year-old. Let's go just the UFAs available here. So Tavares, Kadri, Bushnevich, Burakovsky, Duclair, Kyrou, Kuznetsov, all 86 overalls who are available. That's cool. Just, of course, got to sort by potential. See if there's any interesting rookies or prospects here. Low elite 20-year-old Ivan Tutin, undrafted. Keep note of him. From 24 and 25-year-olds. 23-year-old here, Alexandre Bocage, third-round pick of the Avalanche. 75 overall, low top 6. I'll probably send him a contract. Magnuson, Oscar Magnuson. He is low top 6 as well, 23 years of age. So I'll think about sending out some offers there on my own in a moment. Looking at goalies out here now, Shesterkin, Leonard, Blackwood, Saros, all very good starter caliber goaltenders here, but we are okay in the goalie category. Again, just checking out potential for fun. There is a low elite here. Tucker Tynan, of course. Fifth round pick of the Oilers here in 2022. He slipped through the cracks. And I think that's just about it here. We don't really have anything to do in free agency. So I'll send out those contracts to the players with potential, and we'll see what Matty Beniers has to say. As well as, of course, on July 1st, if you've seen my scouting tutorials, you know that you got to go check out the higher scout screen. It's on July 1st to see who the new ones who are available are. We also need to get a goalie coach now that our last one retired. There is one A-rated head coach on the market here, Tim Goldman, 51% fit though, not great. I think we're going to keep with our coach right now. Ryan Suter, is that him? Yeah, Ryan Suter is an A- rated coach. That's cool. It'll be cool to get him as a head coach, but I think we're happy with our coach, especially coming off of a Stanley Cup victory. Scouts, there are hopefully some. Yeah, there's a few A-. I'll see if there's any who are better than our current scouts. Send out those offers, and then we'll advance a day. All right, advancing forward now. Not much happening here. A couple contract offers, a couple new scouts. So really a quiet offseason here, aside from the draft, thankfully. So new scout signs on. I'll take care of finding a goalie coach during the offseason. Don't need to involve you too much with that. Tutin signs on with that low elite prospect, and Bocage signs on, and so does Magnuson. All three of those prospects are in. Willing to be filling some spots in the OHL. Matty Beniers rejects the offer. Not enough cash to make me consider signing with your team, as if we're a brand new team. No problem with me. We'll keep playing around with some numbers until we find something that works for everybody. The demand has really dropped for 7 years now. 10.325. 8 years. 10.650, which I think was pretty much what he was asking for before. 9.05 is 85%, so I guess we offered him, what, 9.5 before? Let's go 9.850 for 8 years and see what he says now. Even though it's much higher than, 800K above 85%, it's still a steal at that price, so I have no problem with offering those kind of dollars to Matty Beniers. Advancing a few more days now to see what he says to that. Taking on his sweet time to think about it. I believe this signing will be good for myself and the franchise. Okay, enjoy your Stanley Cup championship and your $80 million at the age of 22, my friend. That's pretty much it for the offseason. Now we're going to simulate to the beginning of the preseason now to be able to check out all the offseason growth and be able to start deciding what these decisions are going to be moving forward for Jake Bean and players like that. But of course, as we do every offseason, it's time to see what our next draft class is going to look like. So we got the random number generator going here. 1 to 30 is low, 31 to 69 is medium, and 70 to 100 is high. Last year when we did this random number generator, we got a high draft class quality with medium generated prospect quality. It was a pretty good draft, I do have to say. So this next year, the 2026 draft, so I'll go ahead and hit generate here, and I get 32, so just barely at the cutoff there for a medium draft class quality. And then generating 1 to 100 for the generated prospect quality, I get 91. My goodness. So last year was high medium. This next year, 2026, will be medium high. So regular draft class quality, but a very high quality of prospects. So this last year, the first overall pick was a medium elite, low 80 overall. Maybe this next year with a high prospect quality, we're seeing a franchise player enter the NHL. Who knows? But there we go. With all that being taken care of, I'm going to add Jake Bean to the trade block over the offseason just in case anything super interesting comes our way. There we go. But barring any more stoppages, I will see you at the beginning of the 2025-26 preseason. So here we are at the beginning of year number 5 now. What I'm going to do is take a moment to shape up the lineup to look how I think it should look heading into year number 5. But of course, taking into consideration that guys like Adam Lowry and Chandler Stevenson might be on the way out. So with all of that taken into consideration, here's an idea of our lineup. Okay, so we definitely have some issues here when it comes to development because we've had some good growth over the offseason. The top six could stay the same. Beniers, McKinnon, Marco, still all at their same overalls. Marco's grown to a 90, McKinnon at 95. Schwartz has dropped from an 85 to an 84. Trocheck still at an 87, and Tarasenko has dropped to an 87 as well. Third line, Cole Lind up to an 82. Ryan Suzuki up to an 82. Chandler Stevenson down to an 83. That would be the third line, with the fourth line being Isaac Roseyan, who has now grown to an 80 overall. Mason Shaw at an 82. And then Dawson Mercer, who has also grown to an 81 overall, listed as a third line scoring forward. If you're curious, Roseyan is listed as a depth forward. When it comes to the defense, pretty much the same here. Miller, Bear, Pulak, Chalowski, Fleury, and Jiricek. Jiricek growing from a 78 to an 80. Medium league potential listed as a top 6 D-man. And then goaltending, great growth from Peyton William, who's up to an 87 overall, and Philip Gustafsson is still at an 83. Ben Bishop has dropped down to a 78, but if he still performs, that's no problem. Jesse Elin, out of nowhere, we signed him for the AHL last year. He grew with medium top 9 potential, I'm pretty sure. Now is an 80 overall with top 6 potential at the age of 25 as a playmaker, by the way. Good puck skills. And Dylan Gambrell, also at an 80 overall, finds himself on the outside looking in. And that's just the top, the scratching the surface here. Tanev, we don't worry about Tanev. If he doesn't play, he never plays, no problem. He was just extra insurance for us. But Asher Maloney at a 79 overall is listed as a fourth line forward with medium top 6 potential. Jameson Reese at a 79 is listed as a depth forward. Maybe that he's not as huge of a deal. Then you also have Popov, who is listed as a depth forward at a 79 overall. And don't forget about Adam Lowry, who we're definitely going to have to trade now. He's down to an 81, doesn't matter, but he's great defensively. He'd be a fantastic third-line centerman. We just can't afford to keep him with so much talent around. On defense, you have Jake Bean at an 83, Lozo at an 80, and don't forget about Alexander Koslov, who has an 80 overall and is listed as a top 6 D-man. I think Koslov has to play. If Lozone doesn't play, it's whatever, but we can trade Bean, we can trade Lowry, we gotta find a way to get, we gotta find a way to get Koslov into this top 6 right here. Does it mean that we have to trade Hayden Fleury? He has such a good team fit on the first, third, and even second pair. He's an original Seattle Kraken. He's consistently put up the, not a lot of points, but he's consistently there in the plus minus, always, in the low to mid teens of points. He's played a couple full seasons with us. It would be hard for us to part with Hayden Fleury. And Dennis Chalowski, Dennis the chosen one Chalowski, he's been fantastic as well, even a bit higher in the points category, great in the plus minus. He was fantastic in these past playoffs. So is Hayden Fleury the odd man out and the third pair becomes Koslov and Jiricek? That's probably the most likely course of action here. It's more the forwards that's also hurting because I really want to keep Chandler Stevenson, but if we move him, Dawson Mercer can move up to that third line, and it gives it a -1. And then the fourth line could be Roseyan, Shaw, and one of Asher Maloney or Vitaly Popov here, who could be the centerman. I don't know, he has 65 faceoffs, but great defense, and the 5-star puck skills there. I think he'd be great to have up in the NHL. Worst case, we play him first line AHL, since he's still 79 overall, listed as depth. But I'm a bit worried about Asher Maloney as well. It's more the defense, but there's a lot of talent here because let's say we move Lowry, let's say we healthy scratch Tanev in the AHL, let's say we move Bean, here's how the AHL lines would look. So something like this where Maloney, Popov, and Heiskanen, our better prospects, are getting the first line minutes, only a +1, then Reese, Magnuson, whatever on the second line. Defense, we got to get Matejchuk in there, 73 overall, 21 years of age. He's not really growing super well. Our first round pick in 2022, really try and get him growing. Vince Sloan has a terrible chemistry fit, so maybe we change coaches, but he's medium top 4D, 78 overall. He'll be pushing for the NHL very soon. Kyle Wood down there with him. And then goaltending Primo and Tarasov with a few healthy scratches. That's like I said, Lowry and Bean being traded out and Koslov being called up. That's how the AHL lineup would look. So I think that's probably what I would have to side for, unfortunately. It would be a tough decision, but moving out Bean, Fleury, and Lowry would allow our lineup to kind of look like this. It's still difficult because Elinen and Gambrell are not getting any playing time. So do we roll like this into the preseason, give everyone a chance, and then see who makes it out of camp? But what happens to the ones who do not make it out of camp? If Roseyan has a terrible preseason, do we send him back down? Do we make him the 13th forward? I'm trying to think what's best without stunting these players' growth. Because in the future, a guy like Roseyan or Mercer, whoever, will replace Jaden Schwartz in the top 6. But right now, I don't think there's anyone on this team who could replace Jaden Schwartz, so it wouldn't really make sense to trade him away right now. Same on the defense. One day, Jiricek and Sloan or whatever, they could replace Miller on that first pair, or Chalowski on the second pair. But right now, trading Chalowski or Miller wouldn't make a lot of sense because who's going to replace them? Someone who's like an 80 overall? It doesn't really work. Also in the preseason, we'll be giving opportunities to Gustafsson and Bishop, seeing who gets the backup role to start off the year. You think it's Gus, but who knows what happens with these numbers. And I think that's just about it for the lineup. So keep all those things in mind, as well as what players should be having any X factors added or removed to them. So keep in mind, great postseasons from Tarasenko, Schwartz, McKinnon. Beniers already has a bunch. McKinnon already has a bunch. Marco already has a bunch as well, so I don't want to keep adding. But Tarasenko, maybe 1 or 2 more for him. Any for Trocheck, who was a point per game. Any for Schwartz, who was point per game. I don't know about anyone in the bottom 6. And then on defense, we only 1 for Bear and 2 for Pulak, so feel free to add any thoughts on anything being added for them. Maybe even X Factor 2 for Wilm, or maybe we wait on him. Maybe Ben Bishop gets 1. So if you have any thoughts on those X Factors, please let me know. Maximum of 3 players I will add. Feel free to just say X Factor related to shooting or passing or whatever. You don't need to tell me all the names of them because there's like 40 of them. To finish off the episode, we will take a look at the trading blocks here, because if we do trade Bean, Lowry, and all these players, maybe we do get someone who's good enough to replace Jaden Schwartz. But then there's just more contribution to the logjam. So maybe I'm looking more at prospects and picks. So sorting by overall here, Zellweger would be a good prospect from the Ducks. He's been mentioned in a couple comments in the last few episodes. 2nd round pick, 77 overall, so keep note of him. Coyotes have Raquel, Haula, Yarncrow, and Letang all on their block. Keep note of the years left on the contracts as well. Bruins, Mayfield and Dahan. Buffalo, some prospects, including this one, 79 overall, 21 years of age. Pakarainen, Lassi Pakarainen, okay. Hendrix Lapierre. Merkley on the block for the Flames. No one really on the Hurricanes. Hawks have Seth Jones, 5 years left of his contract. Janmark at an 85 overall. Jenner, Lindblom, Kubalik, Clefbaum, Orlov, Murphy, Brown, all the way down there, all on the block. Colorado, some prospects, Justin Barron, Werenski, Matheson, big names there in Columbus, well, especially Zach Werenski. Not a lot of trade value either for Zach Werenski. Dallas, some prospects here, some pretty decent ones too. 78 overall, 19 years of age. Hold on. Hoffman here on the Noah Hoffman has a couple X factors. 10th overall pick in 2024. Interesting. Okay, keep that in mind. Detroit Red Wings, Ryan Strome, Ryan Johansson, Adam Gaudette, Braden McNabb, Carson Soucy. Panthers, some prospects. Kings, Philippe Dano, 2 years left on his deal. Colin Miller. Minnesota Wild have Andrew Kopp. No one really on the Canadians. Predators, Leighton there, a prospect. Zaka, Vetrano, Schultz, Milano, Paul, all on the block here in New Jersey. Islanders, Trevor Moore. No one really there on the Rangers. Islanders, on the Senators, no one really there either. And more prospects on the Flyers. Pierre-Olivier Joseph on the Penguins. No one on the Sharks. Blues, Larson, Saad, Radulov, Duchesne, Backstrom, D'Angelo. Okay. More prospects on the Lightning. More prospect on the Maple Leafs. Prospects, including this one, 79 overall, but 23 years of age. 76 at 19, interesting there. This prospect on the Canucks, Vitaly Varlamov, 32nd overall pick in 2024. Okay, keep him in mind. Vegas, Mark Stone, Alex Tuck, Carlson, Toffoli, Bluger, Shillington, Schmidt, Shattenkirk, Pacioretty, Forboard, all on the block with multiple years there. It's only Tuck who's on an expiring deal. Everyone else, 2 to 3 years on their contracts. Wow. Washington, more prospects. And Winnipeg, Jordan Stahl, Brendan Lemieux, Peak, etc. So there are the trading blocks of the teams around the NHL. If we did create a little package here, it would garner a fair amount of trade value. If you wanted to toss in all those names, so there's Adam Lowry, and then going to the defense, you have where are they? Not a lot of value, eh? Hayden Fleury, and where's Jake Bean? Oh wow, my goodness, not a lot of value. He had a lot of value at the draft, or much more value. Sheesh. Tough. So maybe not a ton of value. Maybe we only get one piece out of this. because Jake Bean, it is a hefty contract that we would be trading out, and we'd be close to the cap floor. So maybe we find a team that has a lot of cap space and is able to take on all those players. I don't know. Coyotes could take them all on, but maybe we could trade them separately. Always could wait and see. Maybe you could trade them separately. Not a big deal. We'll figure that out. We can also start thinking about extensions, as next offseason is going to be an expensive one. A lot of players with contracts coming up. Yeah, we got $32 million to spend. So Vinny Trocheck, does he come back for? It's an expensive one. He'd want 9. We'd get him probably under 8, but it would still be pretty expensive for Vinny Trocheck. Jaden Schwartz currently making 5.5. He'd want something like, these are some big numbers. So maybe these players are moving out sooner rather than later. I don't know, trade deadline or what. Dennis Chalowski currently making close to 2.5. He wants what? These are crazy numbers right now. I hope that they really go down, because right now these are wild. 2.5 to the upper 2s for Mason Shaw, Ryan Suzuki around the same thing. So these are some big numbers right now. We wouldn't be able to afford all those, but hopefully they change as time goes on. Philip Gustafson still wants cheap right for now. That's good. Okay, but we'll keep note of those things as we move on. I don't think I'd send out any of those extensions right now, but just to be aware that they are coming on the horizon. So maybe their trade deadline moves. I don't know what. That's why hopefully growth continues to happen, and a guy like Sloaner or whoever else, or Koslov, can replace Chalowski next season. Just that it's a tough situation because they're not quite ready to replace him yet and take top 4 minutes. Unless we try that as a trial and we see if they can run with it. Like David Jiricek, because of last year's strong preseason, was given a lot of first pair minutes. Maybe we see if a guy like Chalowski or Schwartz or even Trocheck becomes expendable due to their expiring deals and high demands if the stars align just right. So just something to keep in our minds as we move forward. But that is just about it for the off-season, my friends. So what I'll do now is send out the scouts and get everything started for this next round of scouting into the 2025-26 season. In the next episode, we will go through the preseason as well as maybe 20 games or so of the regular season to get an idea of how this team is looking. But what I need to hear from all of you is about the X factors, about the trading possibilities, about the lineups in the NHL and the AHL. This is where we get paid the big bucks as general managers. So let's get any and all ideas out on the table and try to figure out how we're going to make this a competitive team, a strong team for years to come, but at the same time, let's look to run it back. So thank you so much for taking the time to watch. I hope that you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like, and be sure to leave a comment down here on YouTube or on the Discord server link in the description about all of your thoughts, whether they be suggestions or not, about this offseason and upcoming regular season. Defending Stanley Cup champions, we have a lot riding, we have a lot to prove, we've seen some good growth, we just got to get the right combination of players, and that's why I look forward to reading all your thoughts and being able to see you again in the next one.